public session.
You did your time the other day, Eric.
Yeah.
You did good.
All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome, everybody. This is the Senate Institutions Committee. I'm Joe Benning, your chair from Caledonia County. We have Senator Ingalls from Essex Orleans, Senator Mazza from Grand Isle, Senator Parent from Franklin. We will momentarily, we hope, be joined by Senator McCormick from Windsor. Today is the 20th of April, 2021. And there he is. Senator McCormick has joined us. He looks like he's got a haircut. Maybe it's just.
I was wondering if he was going to get one yet.
Yeah, that was to help make Senator Mazza happy.
You didn't get a haircut, did you?
Yeah, so you
Little
can
trimming
sleep now.
action
You
there.
better get your money back. You better get reimbursed back. They did a lousy job.
Want to say it again?
You better get your money back. They didn't even cut it.
Oh, so it doesn't meet your approval?
Look at it.
Oh my God!
It's hanging all
Oh,
over
I'm
the
gonna
place.
Oh no! I will get another haircut if it doesn't meet your approval,
All
Senator.
right, thank you.
So given that we
Yeah.
lose our legislative council in 22 minutes, I'd like to get the changes that have been tweaked into the Capitol bill up on the screen. We're going to talk about that before Becky has to leave. She has to leave at 1:30. I understand our next witness isn't going to be back here until 2:30. So forgive me for the scheduling snafu, but we're going to have a break in order to get him back in. So Beck, what do you got?
Hey, Denise, can you give me screen sharing ability, please? Ah, there we go. Okay. Can you all see this? Do you need me to make it bigger?
Yeah, if you could make it a little bit bigger, it would be helpful. Otherwise, I can go get my binoculars. There we go. Whoop.
There, I'll go with that. Okay, great. So Becky Wasserman, Legislative Counsel. This is the first draft of the amendment to the Capitol bill. And I understand there might be some more changes, but just wanted to show you what there was so far. So I drafted this as an instances of amendment rather than a strike all because there were not that many changes. But
Okay.
of course, you can let me know if you want it presented in a different way. So the first change in the bill, the first instance of amendment, this is on lines 6 through 11. This is finding $50,000 to appropriate for walleye. And this is being taken from a line item in section 2 under state buildings in the bill. So that's subdivision B10, which was 2.8 million in the House passed version for the southern state correctional facility door controls. And so that is being reduced from 2.8 million to 2,750,000. So that's where that $50,000 will show up. And then I also had to change the totals for each year and the section total to reflect this amount. So the new total in FY22 is $19,316,774. And then the total appropriation for section 2 has changed as well.
Becky, can I ask you to pause for just a second? Let me ask
Sure.
Eric a question. Eric, are you out there still?
Yes, I am here, sir.
I was noticing there are two itemized statements on door controls, one specifically for Springfield, but the other one is statewide correctional facilities. And that's 671,000 in fiscal year 23.
Mhm.
then that was the governor's recommend, but now I go over to the House tweak, and they've got that 670 instead of that extra one. What happened to that, do you know?
They were pre-rounding.
Pre-rounding, okay.
I think what we did this year when we were calculating our estimates, Eric Philcorn, BGS, in the governor's recommend, we added the cost of bonding and an estimate for inflation. So when we were coming up with numbers, we came up with odd numbers because we were doing a real world calculation to try and get ourselves closer to a real number, which was a great exercise, and it helped everybody understand the true cost of doing some of these projects, but it also made for a slightly ragged presentation in a budgetary sense. And knowing this committee's propensity for rounding numbers, the House decided to pre-round a few of the numbers, and that's why they made that move. In the long run, it's, you know, these are estimates, they're a couple years out, but that's how we got to that.
So you told us on Friday that the subtraction of that 50 in the first year for Springfield was still workable. You could still do what you thought you needed to do.
Yes, sir.
Is there any second thoughts on that? Because the other thought I had was to maybe take some of this out of the 23 fiscal year budget and shift it back to Springfield.
In the interest of simplicity, I would probably leave it in Springfield, and we would come ask for 50 in budget adjustment for Springfield rather than spreading it across multiple line items. It's just
Okay.
a little easier to manage. In the end, we won't complete that project entirely within 22, so it would be okay if 50,000 came in 23 when we get there.
Okay, Alice had given me some pushback saying they wanted to do all that money in the first year because that would not require them to move the inmates. Do you still have the ability to not move the inmates?
I don't believe that's part of the calculation from our perspective. I don't think we're going to begin that work until fiscal year 23. Just in terms of the whole process of planning and design and so when they wanted to move that money up, we didn't see a great operational benefit from our perspective, but it also wasn't worth getting into a kerfuffle about it because it's bonding authority. So whether we exercise that authority in fiscal year 22 during that construction season, or we exercise that authority the following season, the project is going to happen on the timeline on which it was planned. So it's just sort of where the money's parked for now.
Well, that makes me sleep. That makes me sleep better tonight. So
Yeah,
we're good.
It's not a concern, and I'm happy to talk to Alice about that if that helps you.
Okay. Becky, you're back.
Okay. So the second instance of amendment here is striking out subsection C in section 4, which is commerce and community development. And this is referencing the reefing of the Adirondack.
Yep.
So that is struck out. And then the redesignating the remaining subsection is just, there was a subsection D, so that would be redesignating that to be alphabetically correct. And as a reminder, that subsection D was clarifying that the additional $10,000 for the underwater preserves would be for opening not more than 3 new sites in FY22.
We're going to leave that just for committee's understanding. We're still going to allow Laura Treishman and company to let that go through and have them reopen up to 3 sites.
Mr. Chair, can I just take 1 second? I have a special guest here with a lot of money. And
Oh, a lot of money.
Maz said that he wanted me to deliver the American Recovery Act check to Maz's General Store. And I've got a 18 wheeler out there with $1 billion in cash. And we're gonna need some heavy lifters for about 6 hours to unload it into his safe.
Well, these are all good Republicans out here on the screen today, so.
You're gonna
I'm on my
have,
way up.
if you've
I'm
got.
only a
if you've
half
got a
hour away,
billion-
Senator.
If you've got $1 billion to unload, you've got to take out Maz's billion first.
Well, we gotta move a few cars, that's for sure.
It's just to cover the catering costs.
We would suggest you use that money to disconnect the stormwater system from Burlington's runoff.
right.
We don't have to worry about that.
Gave me- You know, you guys,
Well, I gave him a donut,
he gave me a muffin top. It's
muffin and a
really good.
sandwich.
Do you have to report that when you go back to Washington? Is that income?
I'm denying it. I'm denying it.
Let him find it, right?
Well, thank you for letting me have him in here.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Good luck. By the way,
Congressman,
seriously, thank you for everything you guys are doing. I really mean that. It's just incredible times, and
Mostly me.
this
Okay,
way that
thank
we
you.
have to work is unreal.
Congressman, we appreciate you coming by. It's good to see you again.
That's great to see you guys. Really appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you, Peter.
It's good to see you.
So how'd you get him in your building? You have
Oh,
free food?
Free food. You offer them free food, they come in anytime. Oh, yeah, hell yeah.
All right. Beck, you're back and we're gonna lose you shortly.
I'm working on trying to get a few extra minutes.
Yay.
So the third instance of amendment is amending section 9 of the bill, which is the appropriations to the Agency of Natural Resources. So what these changes are doing are both fixing an error that was in subsection C. It read that the appropriations were for FY23 when it was actually for FY22. And then in addition to that, I'm also adding in 25,000 in each year for walleye. So I've struck out the entire subsection C, which was the FY22 appropriation for the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and made that change on line 17. That is for FY22. And then the general infrastructure projects appropriation is in the first subdivision. And then the new appropriation here on top of page 2 is the Walleye Association, and that is $25,000. And then subsection G is the new Fish and Wildlife appropriation for FY23. So that includes in subdivision 2 the $25,000 for walleye. And then I needed to update the totals for FY22 and 23 and the total appropriation for section 9, which I used Catherine's spreadsheet for that, but I will double check all these numbers with her as well.
The walleye language there on line 10, that's the original version of how that language was?
Yeah, so I went back to previous capital bills and used the language that has been used in the past. Of course, if it's being used for anything different, I can amend that language.
I'm just wondering what walleye rearing upgrades are. Is that like mama and papa walleye have to be upgraded in their parental skills?
Maybe upgrading the facilities in which they rear.
Very good, Beck. Okay.
But I am not a walleye expert, so.
You are now.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
I can see forever now and ever. Well, we have to refer to Becky as far as the walleyes.
Better walleyes than
Oh,
skitter
no,
bridges.
it's Dick McCormick who's going to have to explain that section, so.
I can follow up with Fish and Wildlife if you would like some further explanation of that.
Oh, no, we got to give plenty of grist for McCormick to be raked over the coals with what that means, so we just leave it right there. Okay.
Okay, so then the last change is adding in a new, in the policy section of the bill, a new section 31 under the sort of subheading of public safety, that the Commissioner of Buildings and General Services is authorized to sell the Williston Public Safety Barracks at 2777 St. George Road in Williston, and that is done pursuant to the statutory authority in Title 29 for BGS to sell property. And the proceeds of that sale shall be appropriated to future capital construction projects.
When can he sell the property? It doesn't say, right?
There's no date
Or
associated.
could he sell it
with-
tomorrow morning or she sell it tomorrow morning?
It could be sold upon the effective date of the act. I mean, that's when the authority would be valid.
You
So
really
if
don't
you-
think she's gonna sell it before they figure out what the lease
I hope
is,
not.
right?
I hope not. I hope we can get that point across. Yeah. Okay.
I think Eric's getting that message.
I hope
There is a,
so. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and Senators, there is a statutory process that we have to follow. This opens us up to following that process, but I would reiterate, want to make the best deal we can for the state and be respectful of the future economic development of the site for the town. Do the right thing.
Usually we buy high and sell low for the state.
Of course,
That's our record.
Investment strategy,
someone has to be the patsy.
right? Do you actually have fiduciary responsibility language in your authorizing statute?
I would have to, in the, I'd have to look it up. I would-
Stumped Eric.
Yeah, but I would go to my Becky Wasserman statutory authority booklet.
Yep.
Because
I can pull it up quickly for you and reshare the screen, but I don't believe there's any fiduciary responsibilities in there.
We just trust them to do the right thing, huh? Interesting. Okay. Anything else we need to be aware of?
That was all that I believe that I had direction from the committee to add in. And I think there are a couple more sections you will be hearing more testimony on, so I can incorporate those as soon as you make a decision. If you
Okay.
like, I have that statutory section, so I can bring that up if you want to take a look at it.
Oh, you want to take a look at it? You got time to do that?
I have until 1:45.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. See if I can figure out how to zoom in here. So subsection B in 29 VSA 166 says that upon authorization of the General Assembly, the Commissioner of Building and advice and consent of the Governor, the Commissioner of Buildings and General Services may sell real estate owned by the state. There's some language about the property shall be sold to the highest bidder at public auction or upon sealed bids at the discretion of the Commissioner. There has to be certain notice requirements with respect to the sale. And the section does not apply to sale, conveyance, exchange, or lease of certain natural resources related sales. So leases and easements or sales of timber under Title 10. So that is usually Forest Parks and Recreation is what this is referring to, is that their authority to sell property.
It's like a real estate contract to me. You don't understand it. Right?
Yeah.
The subsection D here says that the net proceeds from the sale of the property shall be used for capital construction projects. And so that authority is in statute, but the language that is being added into the capital bill is sort of reiterating the purpose of where those funds should go.
So when it goes into a capital fund, where exactly is it going?
Yeah, so I've I've always felt like this language could be tweaked because there really is no capital fund, because the way the capital bill works is that it's money that's bonded as needed. So it's really
Is it reallocated?
yeah, I think it would be
Essentially.
essentially reallocated to the bottom line of the capital bill. I don't actually know if finance and management has like a specific fund for how they would keep this type of money. My understanding is that it's just kind of reallocate. It would just come back to the capital bill next year in the
But it
bill.
doesn't go to the specific project. It's the project that's replacing the building. It's not tied into that.
No, you
No.
could direct it that way in the language. So it says, except that the proceeds may be used as otherwise directed by the General Assembly. So there have been examples in the past where you've said, if you sell X property, it should be used to pay for this new project. But that's not what you're doing in the language right now.
When we sold Redstone, there was a notwithstand that redirected the funds to major maintenance because, and this was before my time, so I only saw the knock-on effect of it, but I think another project had been borrowed from, or funds were borrowed from major maintenance to carry out a project at the direction of the legislature. And so the Redstone money was specifically directed to major maintenance. But this, I believe, as Becky said, would just go into the bottom line of the capital bill. I don't know if it's specific to the year in which the transaction takes place and if it has to be directed at a project in that year or not. But
It'll be fun to watch what that property brings. That's high impact property for sure.
yeah, we've done 2 or 3 other property transactions in the past year or so, mostly disposing of the Quiros fund. There was like a condo and a piece of land and one other property.
The 5 JP properties, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
The one in Burke with 100 acres or so. You guys,
That was at up in Northeast Kingdom, right? That
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
good deal that the guys made, which I opposed from day one. But anyway, that's for the record.
Well, I thought it was going into that secret piggy bank where Steve Klein pops up at the end of the year when somebody needs money and says, I'll get it for you.
Cha-ching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Something tells me you won't let us forget where this is.
no, probably not. All right. Anything else you can tell us, Beck, before you have to head out the door?
No, I will just await further instruction.
Okay, we'll wait till we get the conversation done with the other piece that's coming down the pike before we take any official votes. But right now, committee, anybody see any problems with what you've just heard? Okay, Dick McCormick, I don't think you were here before. My intent is to try to get this bill out tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be discussing the language your Natural Resources Committee was talking about yesterday. Chris Bray wants to come in and talk to us about it tomorrow. But we're actually going to have Michael O'Grady come in and give us a walkthrough today so that when Chris comes in, he doesn't have to spend a great deal of time, but he can tell us why you guys do think it's a good idea. Other than that, Denise, we don't have anything else now on until 2:30. Is that right? Hello, Denise.
Nap time.
No, Julie Moore could not come today, and they're scurrying around to get a representative that can come tomorrow.
Tomorrow's going to be a busy day.
I know.
Hurrying around. We just got to have people. That's it.
Yep.
Yep.
So I guess we are on a break for,
Can't we get him any sooner? Can't get Michael Grady any sooner? No?
2:30? No, he is book solid.
well, that's unfortunate, but
Education, Ways and Means, you know.
okay. I guess we are going to take an official break until, let's call it 2:25, get everybody back and get underway and get done as soon as we can, because Dick and I have another chairs meeting this afternoon.
Yep.
2:25, Joe?
2:25, please.
25.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.